Welcome to Stars Forever, where Stephanie celebrates the lives of unforgettable people whose presence still shines through the legacy they left behind. This channel is devoted to honoring beloved figures from film, music, television, and culture, remembering their journeys, their influence, and the inspiration they gave the world. Here, their stories continue to live on with meaning and heart. Lord Sear passed away at the age of 52, leaving behind a legacy that bridged underground hip-hop culture, radio broadcasting, and entertainment in a way that felt both influential and deeply personal to listeners. Known for his work on New York City radio and Sirius XM, he became a recognizable voice in hip-hop media, helping shape the sound and direction of radio during a formative era. He is especially remembered for his role on the iconic The Stretch Armstrong and Bobbito Show, where emerging artists like the Notorious B.I.G., Jay-Z, and the Fugees were first introduced to wider audiences, helping shape the future of hip-hop culture. Beyond radio, Lord Sear expanded his creative reach as a producer and performer, including joining Eminem on the Anger Management Tour, where his energy connected live audiences to the evolving sound of rap performance. He also contributed voice work to the Grand Theft Auto franchise, further extending his presence into gaming and popular culture. Across every platform he worked in, his style remained rooted in authenticity, humor, and a deep understanding of music culture. Lord Sear is remembered not only for the artists he helped spotlight, but for the spirit he brought to broadcasting, curious, supportive, and always tuned in to what was next. Farley Granger remains one of the classic faces of Hollywood's golden era, remembered for performances that combined quiet intensity with emotional depth. 15 years after his passing at the age of 85, audiences still look back on his work with admiration, especially his unforgettable collaborations with legendary director Alfred Hitchcock. In Strangers on a Train, Granger played an ordinary man trapped in a terrifying and unexpected situation, delivering a performance filled with tension and vulnerability. He also starred in Rope, one of Hitchcock's most experimental films, famous for creating the illusion of a single continuous shot. What made Granger stand out was his natural style of acting. He never relied on dramatic gestures or loud performances to capture attention. Instead, he brought sincerity, subtle emotion, and realism to every role he played. His performances reflected a time in cinema when storytelling often depended on atmosphere, expression, and human connection, rather than spectacle. Even decades later, his work continues to resonate with film lovers around the world. Farley Granger's legacy lives on, not only through classic cinema, but through the timeless reminder that simple, honest performances can leave the strongest emotional impact. Veteran broadcaster Ernie Anastos has passed away at the age of 82 at a hospital in Mount Kisco, New York, following complications from pneumonia. For decades, he was a familiar and trusted presence in New York City homes, known for his steady delivery and calm authority while anchoring evening news on stations such as WABC and WCBS. His on-air style earned him a reputation for clarity and professionalism, at a time when television news was a primary source of daily information for millions of viewers. Beyond traditional broadcasting, Anastos also became known for embracing a more uplifting approach to storytelling. Through his radio program and podcast, he often highlighted positive, human-centered stories focused on kindness, resilience, and everyday acts of goodness. In doing so, he offered a different rhythm to news media, one that balanced serious reporting with moments of hope. Colleagues and audiences remember him, not only for his long career in journalism, but also for his consistent message that meaningful news does not always come from conflict or crisis. His legacy remains tied to both his credibility as a broadcaster and his commitment to reminding audiences of the value of optimism in public life. Elizabeth Taylor remains one of cinema's most enduring icons, remembered not only for her beauty and fame, but for the emotional depth she brought to every performance. 15 years after her passing, at the age of 79, her presence on screen still feels vivid, as if her work never truly faded from view. She first captured audiences as a child star in National Velvet, where her natural warmth and determination made her an instant favorite. As she matured, she took on more complex and emotionally charged roles, including her powerful performance in Cat on a Hot Tin Roof, where she revealed a new level of intensity and vulnerability. Her Oscar-winning role in Butterfield 8 showed a different side of her talent, blending fragility with strength in a way that resonated deeply with audiences. Later, she became larger than life in Cleopatra, a role that defined an era of Hollywood spectacle and cemented her status as a global superstar. Yet beyond the glamour and headlines, Taylor was a deeply human figure, passionate, complex, and resilient in both her personal and professional life. Her legacy continues, not just through her films, but through the emotion she left behind, reminding audiences that true stardom is measured in impact, not just fame. Edith Eva Eger was a Hungarian-American psychologist, author, and Holocaust survivor whose life story became a powerful message of resilience and healing. She passed away at the age of 98, leaving behind a legacy that continues to inspire people around the world. Born on September 29, 1927, in Košice, she grew up in a Hungarian-speaking Jewish family that valued education, discipline, and the arts. As a young girl, she trained in ballet and gymnastics, and showed such talent that she was connected to Hungary's Olympic-level gymnastics circle before her life was shattered by war. In 1944, during the Nazi occupation, she and her family were deported to Auschwitz, where she was separated from her parents, who did not survive. Along with her sister Magda, she endured extreme hardship across multiple camps, including forced labor and a death march during the final stages of the war. She was eventually liberated in 1945 by American forces, barely surviving physically and emotionally. After the war, she rebuilt her life, eventually moving to the United States, where she studied psychology and became a respected clinical therapist specializing in trauma and PTSD. Through her books, including The Choice and The Gift, she shared her experiences and helped others understand healing and recovery. Her life became a testament to the idea that while suffering cannot always be avoided, growth and renewal are still possible through courage and self-reflection. Simon Cowell's story is often told as a rise from obscurity to global fame, but beneath the spotlight is something far more complicated, a life shaped by absence, pressure, and an unrelenting need to be seen. By the time he became one of television's most recognizable faces, he had already lived through collapse, reinvention, and the emotional weight of building an empire that demanded everything from him. The public saw the sharp tongue, the tailored suits, and the confident judgments delivered on stage, but what remained hidden was the long trail of setbacks and internal fractures that shaped him. His journey from a quiet, emotionally distant childhood into the center of global entertainment was not a straight ascent, but a cycle of rejection and return. Each success carried the shadow of earlier failure, and each failure became fuel for another attempt at control over an unpredictable industry. The man who would eventually define modern talent television was not simply created by ambition, but by the absence of reassurance, the instability of early success, and the constant pressure to prove worth in environments where approval was never guaranteed. Childhood shaped by distance and expectation. Simon Cowell was born into a comfortable suburban world in London, but comfort did not translate into emotional warmth. His household was structured, orderly, and socially polished, yet deeply reserved when it came to affection. His mother, a former dancer, moved through life with elegance, but maintained a quiet emotional distance. His father, an industry professional, believed in discipline and achievement rather than praise or reassurance. In such an environment, success was expected and acknowledged only in silence, while failure was noticed immediately. For a child, this created a subtle but lasting impression. Love was conditional, and recognition had to be earned rather than freely given. Cowell later reflected that he rarely heard encouragement in his formative years, a gap that shaped his internal drive. School offered little relief, as he struggled to conform to rigid academic expectations and often found himself labeled as disruptive or uninterested. Rather than being guided, he was frequently overlooked. This combination of emotional distance at home and lack of academic validation outside created a sense of invisibility that would follow him into adulthood, planting the earliest seeds of his determination to become impossible to ignore. School years and early drift into uncertainty. During his school years, Cowell did not fit the mold of academic success or disciplined conformity. He attended institutions that prioritized structure and results, yet he often resisted both. Teachers viewed him as distracted or uncooperative, while peers moved forward academically with clearer direction. He was not without intelligence, but his attention was not captured by traditional learning systems. This mismatch created early frustration and a growing sense that conventional paths were not designed for him. Eventually, he left school with minimal qualifications, entering adulthood without a clear plan or established identity. In a family where achievement was highly valued, this lack of direction felt like a quiet form of failure. He drifted through short-term roles, unsure of where he belonged, while watching others appear to find stability. The absence of guidance or strong encouragement meant that his early ambitions were shaped more by trial and error than structured planning. Even at this stage, however, he began to observe how industries functioned from the outside, developing a curiosity about how entertainment, music, and popularity were constructed. What looked like aimlessness was, in hindsight, the beginning of a long process of learning how systems of fame actually worked. The mailroom beginning and lessons in visibility. Cowell's entry into the music industry was not glamorous. He began in a mailroom at a major publishing company, performing tasks far removed from the creative world he would later dominate. Sorting letters and running errands placed him at the very bottom of a hierarchy built on fame and influence. Yet this position gave him something unexpected: observation. From this vantage point, he saw how decisions were made, how artists were discussed, and how success was filtered through layers of corporate judgment. He witnessed firsthand that talent alone was not enough. Perception, timing, and commercial appeal often mattered more. After briefly leaving and struggling outside the industry, he returned to the same environment, confronting the humiliation of stepping backward rather than forward. That experience reinforced a critical lesson about survival and persistence. Over time, he moved into junior roles where he could participate more directly in decision-making. The transition was slow and often frustrating, but it marked the beginning of his understanding of the commercial side of music. Instead of viewing himself as an outsider, he began to study the system as something he could eventually influence, even reshape. First venture collapse and the weight of failure. In the early phase of his career, Cowell attempted to establish his own music label, stepping into entrepreneurship with ambition and confidence. Initially, the venture achieved modest success, releasing tracks that gained attention and generated revenue. For a time, it appeared that he had successfully transitioned from employee to independent creator. However, the music industry is volatile, and trends shift quickly. As public tastes changed, the label struggled to maintain momentum. Distribution weakened, sales declined, and financial pressure mounted. Eventually, the business collapsed, leaving Cowell in debt and forced to return to his parents' home as an adult. This period marked one of the most difficult phases of his life, not only because of financial loss but because of emotional regression. Returning to a childhood bedroom as a failed entrepreneur reinforced earlier feelings of inadequacy and invisibility. Yet even in this setback, he began to refine his understanding of audience behavior. He observed that critics and industry insiders often misjudged what the public actually wanted. This realization, born from failure, would later become one of the foundational principles of his success in television and music production. Rebuilding through audience understanding and strategy. After the collapse of his early business efforts, Cowell re-entered the industry with a different mindset. Instead of chasing critical approval or artistic validation, he began focusing on commercial performance and mass audience reaction. This shift in perspective proved crucial. He started identifying patterns in what ordinary listeners responded to, rather than what industry elites praised. Acts that were dismissed by critics often performed extremely well in sales, revealing a gap between taste-making and consumption. Cowell positioned himself within that gap, deliberately selecting projects that others overlooked. His decisions, which were sometimes ridiculed within industry circles, consistently demonstrated strong commercial outcomes. Over time, this approach built both financial stability and professional credibility. However, it also reinforced his reputation as someone willing to prioritize popularity over prestige. While some viewed this as a limitation, it became the foundation of his business philosophy. He was no longer trying to impress gatekeepers. He was studying audiences directly. This strategy would later define his approach to television, where public voting and mass engagement became central to his success. The rise of television and public judgment. Cowell's transition into television marked a turning point in his public identity. When he joined early talent competition shows, he initially approached them as an extension of his music industry experience. However, the format of live auditions and audience participation introduced a new dynamic. Unlike record production, television required immediate feedback, personality-driven engagement, and emotional reaction. Cowell quickly distinguished himself through direct and often brutally honest commentary. While other judges offered encouragement, he focused on realism, frequently criticizing performances in blunt terms. This approach was controversial, but highly effective in attracting viewers. Audiences were drawn not only to talent, but to the unpredictability of judgment itself. The shows he participated in gained massive popularity, transforming him from behind-the-scenes executive to on-screen personality. His role evolved into that of a cultural gatekeeper, someone who could validate or reject aspiring performers in real time. This visibility brought both fame and criticism, but it solidified his influence in shaping modern entertainment formats, where audience participation and emotional storytelling became central to success. Global fame and the expansion of an entertainment empire. As television success expanded internationally, Cowell's influence grew beyond national boundaries. He helped develop formats that were adapted across multiple countries, creating a global network of talent-based programming. These shows introduced new artists to worldwide audiences, many of whom achieved significant commercial success. The structure was simple but powerful. Ordinary individuals performed, judges evaluated, and audiences decided outcomes. This formula proved highly adaptable and commercially lucrative. Cowell's production ventures expanded rapidly, generating substantial revenue and establishing him as a major figure in global entertainment. He became associated with launching major music careers, further reinforcing his reputation as a talent identifier. However, this level of success came with increased pressure, longer working hours, and constant public scrutiny. As his empire expanded, so did expectations, and maintaining relevance required continuous innovation. The scale of his influence also meant that his decisions carried significant weight in shaping public careers, adding complexity to his role as both producer and judge. Power, criticism, and the cost of visibility. With fame came intensified scrutiny. Cowell's direct judging style, once seen as refreshing, began to attract criticism for being overly harsh. Media narratives shifted, portraying him as a symbol of entertainment cruelty rather than honest evaluation. Contestants and audiences sometimes questioned the emotional impact of televised judgment, especially when aspiring performers faced rejection on a global stage. Despite this, the shows continued to thrive, driven by viewer engagement and emotional storytelling. Behind the scenes, however, the demands of constant production schedules created significant strain. Long hours, international travel, and overlapping projects left little space for personal life. Relationships suffered, and isolation became increasingly common. Even at the height of success, there were indications of emotional fatigue and distance from ordinary social experiences. The contrast between public visibility and private loneliness became more pronounced, highlighting the paradox of fame, being seen by millions while feeling disconnected in personal life. This tension would later deepen as personal controversies and life events began to reshape public perception. Personal scandals, health struggles, and vulnerability. In later years, Cowell faced a series of personal challenges that shifted public perception significantly. A widely reported personal scandal involving a close relationship brought intense media attention and legal complications, exposing him to public judgment on a level similar to the contestants he once evaluated. Around the same period, he also experienced serious physical injuries from accidents that required medical intervention and long recovery periods. These incidents forced a pause in his relentless work schedule and introduced vulnerability into a life previously defined by control. Recovery was not only physical but also psychological, as he reassessed priorities and lifestyle choices. The combination of public scrutiny and physical limitation created a period of reflection. Rather than maintaining constant output, he began stepping back from certain responsibilities, focusing more on family and health. These experiences marked a shift from dominance-driven ambition toward a more cautious and introspective approach to life and work. Fatherhood and the shift in perspective. Becoming a father later in life significantly altered Cowell's outlook. The arrival of his son introduced a new emotional center that contrasted with his previously work-focused existence. Responsibilities that once revolved around entertainment and business began to include personal stability and presence. This shift influenced his decisions regarding workload, travel, and public engagement. While he remained active in the entertainment industry, there was a noticeable change in tone and priority. Fatherhood introduced a form of emotional grounding that had been largely absent from his earlier years. It also reframed his understanding of legacy, shifting it from professional achievement to personal connection. Experiences of vulnerability, combined with parenthood, softened aspects of his public persona without eliminating the core traits that defined his career. Instead, they added complexity, revealing a more layered version of a figure long known for simplicity in judgment but depth in experience. Conclusion: a life defined by reinvention and contradiction. Simon Cowell's life is ultimately a study in contrasts: visibility and isolation, success and collapse, control and vulnerability. From an emotionally distant childhood to global fame, his journey reflects a continuous negotiation between external achievement and internal absence. Each phase of his life built upon the previous one, often shaped by failure as much as success. What began as a search for recognition evolved into a system for discovering it in others. His influence on modern entertainment is undeniable, reshaping how talent is discovered and consumed across the world. Yet, beneath the empire and public persona lies a more complex story of resilience, adaptation, and emotional consequence. Fame did not erase his early experiences. It amplified their effects in unexpected ways. In the end, his story is not only about building an entertainment empire, but about the cost of sustaining one, and the ongoing attempt to balance achievement with meaning in a life lived almost entirely in the public eye.